So far, we have created quite many programs related to loop control statement, and we are very much ready to move to the next section. But still, I'm thinking I'm going to create few more loop related videos so that you can practice loop statement really well. Also, this will improve your logical thinking. This time, I'm going to create a program to check whether a number is a prime or not. So here, let's start. Now, first of all, you need to understand the logic behind determining a number whether it's a prime or not. So first we are going to understand the theoretical part, and then we'll go to the practical part. Here, let's say you want to decide whether 5 is a prime number or not, and how you're going to check it. So basically, we are going to divide a number between 1 to 5 in this case. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to run a loop from 1 to n. So n is our number here, and we're going to take it from user. Now, of course, any number will be divided by 1 and itself. So there is no point of dividing by 1 or number itself. So we need to run a loop from always 2 to, before the number we have. So if it is 6, then we are going to run it from 2 to 5. If the user gives us number 7, we are going to run it from 2 to 6. Okay, so step by step we will have a loop. Again, I'm going to write it here just to explain you. First of all, we're going to take a number from the user. Okay, and of course we're going to ask the user to give us the number. Here we are going to ask the user to give us a number. Enter any positive integer. All right, fair enough. And of course we need to take that with the help of scanf function here, and we will take that for sure and then put inside the variable called number. So step number 1, we have taken the input, and now we need to run a loop here. So let's run a loop, and we already have learned how many times we need to run this loop and from where we should start. So we are going to start always from 2, and then we are going to run before the previous number of the number that we have, and every time it will be incremented by 1. Okay, so step by step we are getting there. And now we will check whether this number is divisible by the numbers we have. So these are the variable I we have, or the value of I we have here. Let me just write it down again, because these values coming from loop variable. So every time now we need to check whether 5 is divisible by 2 or 3 or 4. If it is divisible by any of the number, then this is not a prime number. Okay, so again, try to understand what we're basically trying to do. We are trying to check whether n, or the number, is divisible by the value of I. If it is divisible, then we do not need to check furthermore. If it is even divisible by any one of the number, then surely it's a prime number. And in this case, we do not need to check anymore. We'll just break it. Okay, we'll break the loop. Now again, let's check. 5 is not divisible by 2, 5 is not divisible by 3, 5 is not divisible by 4. Therefore, we can say it's a prime number. Now we need to check whether if the number is divisible by any number even at least one time. So for that, we are going to use a variable called count before even going inside to the loop, because we need to check whether the number is divisible by variable I even at least one time. Okay, that's why we need this count variable. So let's go back here. What basically we want to do here again, when we're inside the loop, we want to check whether the number is divisible by I or not. So here I'm going to use number, and then of course modulus, and I want to make sure that it's divisible by 1. Now if it is divisible by the variable I actually, then we are going to break. We do not need to check anymore, at least if it is divisible by 1 time. Again, let's come back here. What basically we're trying to do, try to understand again. When we take a number, I can maybe remove everything and explain you one more time before even moving furthermore. Okay, so let's say if the user gives us a number here. Okay, and the number is this time, let's say 6. Okay, I'm going to write it down here. So the loop will start from 2, as we have already checked, because any number is divisible by 1 and itself. So we are going to start like this: 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're running before the previous number, and this is our n, and of course this is our variable I. So now we need to check whether this number is divisible by I. Of course, when we will check the first one, 6 is divisible by 2 or not, it is divisible by 2. So this is not a prime number. And in this case, we do not need to check furthermore. We are going to break it here. So that's why we are using the break here. Now we need to check before printing whether it was divisible by any number or not, and that's why we need a count variable to count whether it was divisible by any number. So at the beginning we'll say 0, so the count value is 0. Now if it is divisible by even single time, we're going to increment it. That's all, and that should be all. Now we can say here even count equal 1, that means it is divisible by at least one time. Okay, now if it is divisible by one time when we're outside of the loop, when it is already break and we have exited from the loop, now we need to check if count equals 0, that means it was not divisible by even one time, then we can say it's a prime number. So we are going to print it here, %d is a prime number. Fair enough, and we are going to print a new line here. And then I can copy and paste real quick here. This time it's going to be else here, because if the number was divisible by at least one of the number of I, then surely the count value will change, and in this case this one will not work, this one will be printed. So we are going to say is not a prime number. That's all. Of course we need to print the variable value here, which is in our case number. So let me just print it here, number. That's all. Again, let's go back to the drawing here. So we saw 6 is not a prime number. Why? Because when we are coming inside with 6, and of course we are starting the loop from 2, 6 is divisible by 2. That means we are going to change the value of count, which previously was 0. So it will be 1 this time, and it will immediately break the loop. That's all. We are coming inside if count equals 0, which is not true because our count value is 1. So in this case it will print %d is not a prime number. Basically 6 is not a prime number. Now let's try with another number here. I'm going to maybe remove this one. Let's say this time we have 7, and therefore it will start running from 2 to 6. Here I'm going to write. So at first it will check whether 7 is divisible by 2, which is not. Then the variable I will change, and value this time it will be 3. So we'll check whether 7 is divisible by 3, which is not true. We'll move to the next one. 7 is divisible by 4, 7 is divisible by 5, and 7 is divisible by 6. And after checking everything, we saw that none of them were working in our case, because 7 is not divisible by any one of the number. So in this case, it will not break. In this, it will not come inside this condition, and count will not change and also not break. So when the value will be 8, for sure this loop will break, for sure, and will come down below here. This time the value of count did not change because we could not go inside of if block, and therefore it will show this number is a prime number. That should be all. Now let's run this program. Let's see whether it's going to work. We're going to improve this program a lot. So here I'm going to compile and run, and let's see whether it asks us to give a positive integer number. Yes, it is asking us to give a positive integer number. If I give 6 here, it says 6 is not prime number, which is true. Now if I give 7 here, it says 7 is a prime number, which is absolutely right. Now the program is working. We can modify this a little bit, but before that, let me just add some dot there. Okay, fair enough. Now what about 0 and 1? Is it going to work in our case? Of course not, because we are starting from 2. So any number whether user is giving, we are going to start from checking whether it is divisible by 2, and then we can continue further. 0 and 1, they are not prime numbers. So at the beginning we can handle these things. Let me go here. If we can check if the number the user is giving to us, if it is less than 1, then this is not a prime number. In this case, we are going to show immediately it's not a prime number, else we are going to test it out whether it's a prime number. So in this case, I can cut the for part and put inside here. That should be all. Now let me just copy from here to here and go up, because if the number is 1 or less than 1, then in this case, we're going to show immediately it's not a prime number. If it is 3, 4, or some other number, or even 2, then we are going to check whether it's a prime number or not. Okay, and still after the loop, we have the same logic that's going to be used here. Now, of course, what we can do here, I'm just thinking there is no point even keeping this part, if else part, outside of the else block. So maybe we can put that one inside here. Because let's say if I give here 0, immediately it will fall into this if condition, and it will say 0 is not a prime number. If I give 1, surely this one will work, and it will say it's not a prime number. Now if I give 2, now it's time for checking. So it will check and then it will decide what to show here. Okay, so now let's do one thing here. We're going to compile and run, and we're going to test this one out. Let's say if I give 1, this is not a prime number. Again, I'm going to run. If I give 0, it's not a prime number. If I give here 5, and 5 is a prime number, it's working perfectly fine. Now, as I said, we can make this program more better. And how we can do that? So now let's go back to the drawing again here. We are coming back to the drawing. So try to understand whatever I'm going to explain. I want to make this program more efficient right now. So whenever you have a number, let's try to check if the number is divisible by 2, if the number is divisible by 3, and then actually if it is not divisible by half. What do I mean by that? Let me just draw it again so that it is more understandable to you. Let's say you have n equal here a number, let's say 16. So what basically we are going to do in our case, we are checking whether this number is divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me use a more smaller number in this case. So here I'm going to use 9. That will be much easier for you to understand. Now we are going to check whether this number is divisible by 2. This number is of course not divisible by 2. We are going to check this number is divisible by 3. Of course not. We are going to check this number is divisible by 4. Of course not. So basically, after that, you will not see that the number is divisible by 2 anymore, because there is a formula that we can use. If the number, if we divided it by 2, so if you go half of any number and still if it is not divisible by any one of those, then there is no need to check rest of them. Now what do I mean by that? So here n is 9 in our case. So 9 divided by 2 will be 4, because we are getting only the integer part, even though it's 4.5, but we are getting only the integer part. So if the number is not divisible until 4, so you are checking with 2, 3, 4, then you do not need to check anymore. So this is a nice way to, cut down the iteration number that we have right now. So I'll go back, and here I'm going to add divided by 2, and this will reduce the number of iteration that we're checking. There's one more I want to test it out with you. So let's say we have a number here. Let's say it's 8. So surely we're going to start just like before. We're going to start with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now try to understand. We're going to divide the number here. We'll start from 2. Of course, it's divisible by 2. Then there is no point of checking that anymore. But if you see here, if we divide it by 2, so it will be 4. All we need to do, we need to check until 4, because after that it will not be divisible by any other numbers. So here you can see it can be divided by 2, it can be divided by maybe not 3, but it can be divided by 4. But after that, there is no number can divide that number anymore. So there is no point of checking after that. So the formula here is number divided by 2. We need to check that many iteration. So that's why we have changed it here. Now let's compile and run it again. Let's see whether it does work. Here I'm going to give a positive integer, let's say 5, and it's working completely fine. I'm going to give another number. This time it's going to be 8. 8 is not a prime number. So everything is working as usual. Now we can make this one more shorter or more like maybe efficient. We can use square root of the numbers. So a number can be divisible by only the square root of that number. So in our case, let's go down below here. I'm going to draw it again. Let's say n equal 4 here. And in this case, what we'll do, basically we'll use 2 and 3 to divide this number. And what's the square root of this number we have? So square root of n, in our case, is square root of 4, because that's what we have guessed for our n variable. And it will be 2. Now you need to check only the square root of the number, whether it's divisible by or not. So 4 is divisible by 2, that means we do not need to go any more further. We do not need to check with 3 anymore. Let's try with another, n equal 9, and square root of 9 is 3, right? So in this case, we are going to check with only 2 and 3. Even though previously we were using half, that means according to the previous one, we would go like this, 4. So 9 divided by 2 will be 4 point something. So according to the previous one, number divided by 2, we would need to go until 4, from 2 to 4. But if we follow the square root, square root formula, then we do not need to go that many. We just need to go until 3. So here 9 is divisible, not divisible by 2, but 9 is divisible by 3. That means we do not need to go any more further. It's not a prime number. So we have seen that the square root option basically reduced the number of iteration here. And therefore, I'm going to use here square root of number. So let's do that. Square root of the number that we have. And surely when we're using square root, we need to add math.h, and this is something I already have. Now let's compile and run, and let's see whether it does work. Here I'm going to give 9, and 9 is a prime number, which is not true. We need to check why it shows 9 is a prime number. So let me compile and run again. Here I'm going to give 5. It says 5 is a prime number, which is true. If I give 6, it says 6 is not a prime number. If I give 9, let's see what it does. It says 9 is a prime number. So let's check whether 9 is a prime number or not. Now we need to run until that number when we're using square root, and this is where I have missed the option here. So it should go until the equal, because we need to go until 3. We need to check until 3. So now if I compile and run one more time, let's see whether it does work. I'm going to give a positive integer, this time 9, and it says 9 is not a prime number. If I try with 0, of course, this is something will be handled in the first if block, and therefore 0 is not a prime number. So hopefully you got the concept of prime number here and how things are working. We can make this program more beautiful. And how is that? Let's say we can even check whether the user is giving a single input or not. So we can do some input validation here. And let me show you how we can do it. Here, when we're taking the user input, we want to make sure that user is giving only one input here. Basically, that means, let's say if the user is giving 5, that's okay. But if the user wants to give a 2 integer number, then that's a problem. Or even if the user wants to give some letter, that's also a problem. So how can we handle this? Let's be real quick. So I will put this one inside a if block to check whether the user is giving one input. And therefore, what I will do here, I will make sure that it is not equal 1. And if it is not equal 1, then I'm going to show invalid input here. So let's do that, printf, and I'm going to show invalid input, and I'm going to explain you what basically this one is doing there. Okay, and of course when the invalid input is there, I want to return 1. That means there is an error in this case. Okay, so what is happening here? Let's say if somebody gave us here one input, which is, let's say, a number 5. So again, it's just 1. We have only one integer. So 1 not equal 1, which is not true. In this case, this one will not work. Okay, and we'll continue with the rest of the things that we have. But let's say if somebody gives us 2 integer number here, 15 and 12. So now we have 2 numbers here, 2 not equal 1, which is true in this case. And therefore, it will show it's an invalid input. Okay, so hopefully you got the concept here, what basically I'm trying to do.